Hi, you guys. Welcome back for our daily practice questions. As always, I like to get into my introduction and disclaimer before getting started with our questions for today. So, for those of you who are familiar with me, hey, y'all. For those of you who are new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Dr. Brittany Weinstock. I am a family nurse practitioner, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Nursing Studio. I provide resources, tools, courses, review books, videos, and more to assist nurses as well as nurse practitioners with success on boards as well as in practice. Now, I always like to give the disclaimer as a reminder we know there's no absolute in medicine, right? We treat on a patient by patient basis. And any of the questions that you see are questions that I have created and designed based on the guidelines that are currently being tested on the ANCC as well as AANP exam. Now, any of the videos that I do that I'm teaching on, anything specific that we currently do in practice, I will always say that so there's no confusion. Um, and I've been doing that since 2015, assisting nurses and nurse practitioners in this fashion internationally with exam success. Also, before I even get into the question, I just want to say thank y'all. I've been doing this for a while, but a lot of you are just finding me. So, hey, y'all, it means a lot to me. I do not take it lightly, but the feedback from you guys over the past week, the phone calls, and all of the things y'all, I appreciate it more than you know. Y'all really make my day, and I'm glad that you're finding it helpful. If there's specific areas that you struggle with or questions that you would like me to add more into the rotation, feel free to reach out and let me know, and I'm happy to do those for you. I'm here to help. I've been there. I know how this goes, so I do this to help you guys in hopes that you don't have to struggle as much as I did or anybody else. That's the key to things. When you learn, you reach back and help somebody else. So I appreciate the feedback because you do the things, but if y'all aren't saying anything or telling me, I'm not really sure if it's helping or if you're receiving it well or it's like, no, girl, stop. But the feedback I really, really appreciate. And again, thank you. But let's get into our questions, y'all, now that I'm off of my spiel. Question number one for the day states a patient presents to the office with complaints of left lower quadrant pain. The patient states that she has felt more bloated recently and is nauseated periodically. Based on the patient's complaints alone, what is the best differential diagnosis? Is it A, cholecystitis, B, diverticulitis, C, appendicitis, or D, pancreatitis? Take a moment and tell me what you got in the comments, you guys. All right, I always recommend that you read the stem of the question first so that it allows you to slow down and ensure that you're answering what is even being asked, right? So the stem of the question here states, based on the patient's complaints alone, what is the best differential diagnosis? So, okay, so I always say if they're asking you for a diagnosis, you need to run it back and see what the assessment findings are even telling you. How is the patient presenting, right? So when we're saying assessment, picture this person coming into the office to you, right? And the subjective, right, is what they're stating and saying is wrong. Objective, what we are observing. So think about it. Even though I say this, I teach this, I'm telling you, this is what we do anyway. This is how we document. Think about our SOAP notes. Think about all of the things that we do. So that is how they gauge and test you on boards too. So I'm not just saying this because I like to. I'm just telling you, I'm trying to give you the game. So just take heed. But for assessment, like I say, just look at that presentation. What are their signs and symptoms? Did you do any specific assessment and get a finding, such as like the maneuvers and things of that nature? So here, this patient came in complaining of left lower quadrant pain. Already, this should start to alert you on certain things. We start to form our differentials as soon as we're encountering our patient, right? Um, then they're stating they felt more bloated, they have had some nausea. Now, we could do more on our exam as the provider and go on, but when you are thinking of left lower quadrant pain, they're having the bloating, the best differential diagnoses would be B, diverticulitis. I always say remember your quadrants. If you struggle, I have a picture of the chart on here as well to kind of help you through that. Or go look at my GI video to kind of walk through it. But remember where everything is because these landmarks are going to tell you specifically where the organs are located, where they have their pain. This is like keys saying, hey, look at me, think of this area, right? So cholecystitis, we know with gallbladder, inflammation is in the right upper quadrant. They have right upper quadrant pain. Diverticulitis, they have left lower quadrant pain, right? Appendicitis, they have right lower quadrant. And the pancreatitis is typically in the upper quadrants, okay? All right, question number 2. The nurse practitioner and NP student are discussing cranial nerves. The NP student inquires about the cranial nerve associated with shoulder shrugging. What is the appropriate answer by the nurse practitioner? Is it A, cranial nerve 3, B, cranial nerve 10, C, cranial nerve 5, or D, cranial nerve 11? Take a moment and tell me what you got in the comments. All right, so stem of the question states, what is the appropriate answer by the nurse practitioner? All right, so let's see what we're talking about here. The nurse practitioner and NP student are discussing cranial nerves. The NP student inquires about the cranial nerve associated with shoulder shrugging. So again, knowledge based. Make sure you take time to review over those cranial nerves. There's lots of mnemonics for it, so whatever works for you to retain these cranial nerves. And also, another tip I always say, and I know it's so simple, but make sure you know your Roman numerals, because if they put these answers just like this on the exam with the Roman numerals, you might know the answer, but mix it up because you didn't know the Roman numeral. Don't make that the reason why you miss it, right? So with shoulder shrugging, it is cranial nerve 11, right? You know, the common thing that they say is think of a one over each shoulder, and like you're lifting your shoulders to raise the ones up. So for 11, one over your left shoulder, one over your right shoulder. And D is your answer, cranial nerve 11, okay? All right, and lastly for today, question number 3. A patient presents to the office with complaints of a rash to their chest and abdomen. Upon examination, the nurse practitioner notes a Christmas tree pattern rash with a hero patch to the patient's trunk. Based on these findings, what is the best diagnosis? Is it A, pityriasis rosea, B, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, C, Lyme disease, or D, actinic keratosis? I don't know why I keep mixing up these letter choices, but y'all know it's D as that last answer, not B again, okay? So A, pityriasis rosea, B, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, C, Lyme disease, or D, actinic keratosis. All right, you guys. So, stem of the question states, based on these findings, what is the best diagnosis, right? So, okay, you know what I tell you. If they're asking you for the diagnosis, run it back and see what the assessment shows us so that we can come up with the diagnosis, right? So, patient came in with complaints of a rash to the chest and abdomen. Nurse practitioner does an assessment, notes a Christmas tree pattern rash, and a hero patch to the patient's trunk. All right, you guys. Y'all know I always say with derm, key thing for exams is pay attention to the location that they're telling you things are at, right? So this is telling you they noted this on the trunk. The patient came in saying chest and abdomen, right? So this trunk region is the problem. This is where the source is, because this is giving you an idea of what derm disorder we're talking about, right? If you can't see an image, they're going to have to describe it to you. Location, location, location is key with derm. Then make sure you pay attention and know those key descriptions, those key identifiers. You know my thing. When I say this, you say that, right? So if I say Christmas tree pattern rash, you say pityriasis rosea, right? If I say Harold patch, you say pityriasis rosea. These are classic identifiers for pityriasis rosea. So you should have selected A, PR, pityriasis rosea. Typically will resolve on its own after 4 weeks, right? All right, you guys, I hope you found this helpful. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and share with whomever you may think may find this beneficial as well. And if you need any of the resources that I offer, feel free to contact us at 803 400-6864. You can also shoot a text message to this number or shoot an email to the nursing studio, the number one at gmail.com. I offer a few things. I try to meet everybody where you are. So there's review book options that are short and sweet, more on a study fashion on the go. There's an ebook option as well as a paperback option. Both are linked in the bio of this channel. In the review book, I also have a video on here in my shorts. So you can kind of see, I flipped through the book and you can kind of see what it looks like. But it is in color, so like our derm and eye things, all of that. I have images in there to kind of help you tie it together, but they are in color so you can see it a little bit more clearly. My charts, my mnemonics, my Brittany's Brilliance are in there. I have it broken down by system. It is in the fashion of assessment, diagnosis, evaluation, and treatment. Each system has an interactive section where it's fill in the fill in the blank of things that, so you can test your knowledge, right? So you read it, then you write it, and then you test yourself at the end, right? That's my concept of how I have it laid out. So you're reading it to review, then write it out. I have it broken down into levels. So it's testing you on what are the assessment findings, right? Because when if you've ever been unsuccessful on boards, you know the breakdown is going to show you, okay, you were low in this, high in this, and it's broken down like assessment, diagnosis, etc. Right? So that's how I break down my book. And so you can fill it in so you can study and pull those pieces out so that you're able to identify in the fashion of, okay, this is how they would present as an assessment. All right. These are the gold standard diagnostics that I would use for this. All right, this is how I would evaluate or things that I would consider when I'm implementing and planning to do my treatment option. What are those steps and things that we need to do? And then lastly, our treatment. How do we treat them, right? So that's how the book is broken down. I also offer a self-paced review for people who are just needing something quick to study independently, listening to videos, listening to the audio on the go or whatever. You can play it on any device. It's also broken down by systems. It also has an associated PowerPoint workbook that you can download with the images and things associated as I am studying. It is me teaching it. It is me explaining it in my breakdown and including my Brittany's Brilliance as well. And then there's many quizzes associated with it also. Um, Next, we have a group course that I offer periodically, and it is a 5-week review course. It is for family and adult GERO reviewers, also the self-paced as well. And it is for the ANCC as well as AANP exam. Now, with the 5-week, we work together as a group. You have assignments Monday through Friday that you're able to complete at your own convenience. Some people have on their off day, they'll do all of the stuff for the week or whatever. It's whatever works for you. And then I look at it, I grade it, I give you feedback. Then we meet weekly for live practice questions so that we can walk through it just like how I do here. And then that last week is an individualized week where you have a session with me where I work with you based off of the things that you have submitted with the assignments, talking about your progress, things that we have worked on, and just really gauging your exam readiness and giving you advice on next steps that I recommend that you do after the course. And the next one is June the 10th. I have one space left in that class. And then one-on-one sessions are the other option that I have. It's customized. So I always recommend giving me a call or shooting me an email so we can gauge what you really need. The pricing, the timeline is all based off of your customized needs. So if you're just wanting to focus on a weakness, those are small sessions. It might be a one-time session. If you're wanting exam readiness, you get a pre-test and then you work with me to assess your exam readiness. That's another option. Or some people want to do the custom package where they may have been unsuccessful previously on boards and we gauge where you are with the pretest, assessing for weaknesses, looking at your previous testing scores, and creating a structured plan to work through with that. And then I work alongside with you during that time period that you want to do. So if you want to allot 2 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, we design that, we create that to get you from unsuccessful to successful. But y'all know what to do. If you need any of the resources, contact me, but make sure you meet me back here. As always, happy studying. Bye, y'all.